The movie kicks off with a young woman named Frida, who dreams of becoming a nail artist with a quirky, animal-themed style. For now though, she's stuck working as a waitress. She spends her downtime posting photos of her nail designs on social media. One day while scrolling online, she comes across an interview with Slater King, a tech billionaire. He's publicly apologizing for some vague inappropriate behavior and announces he's stepping down as CEO. He also mentions buying a private island where he grows his own food and raises chickens. Frida is instantly smitten with Slater. She already had a crush on him, and now she's completely fascinated, looking up more about him online. Feeling stuck in her routine, she vents about needing a serious vacation. A few days later, Frida and her roommate Jess get hired to work as waitresses at Slater's annual gala. Before they start, Frida's boss warns her not to repeat what happened at last year's event when she tried to approach Slater. Frida insists that he came up to her and complimented her nails, but her boss still tells her to keep a low profile. The event is ridiculously luxurious, everyone's dressed to impress. While working the floor, Frida keeps sneaking glances at Slater. Later, Jess pulls her into the locker room and reveals she brought 2 fancy dresses so they can blend in with the guests. They change clothes and join the party, pretending to be part of the elite crowd. While Frida is trying to get closer to Slater, she accidentally bumps into a waiter and falls flat on the floor. Embarrassed, she looks up and sees Slater offering her a hand. They introduce themselves, and to her surprise he starts introducing her to his inner circle. His therapist Dr. Rich, his childhood friend Cody, his head of security Stan, his right-hand man Vic, 2 women named Heather and Camilla, a college grad named Lucas, a DJ named Tom, and Sarah, a reality TV star. Frida's night turns into a whirlwind of laughter, drinks, and attention. She can't believe she's hanging out with her idol. But just as the party's in full swing, Slater's assistant Stacy reminds him it's time to head to the island. He leaves and Frida chats with Jess about how unbelievable the night was. Moments later, Slater unexpectedly returns and invites both of them to join him on the trip. They eagerly agree. The group, minus Dr. Rich, boards a private jet to the island. When they arrive, Frida is blown away by the sheer luxury of it all. Stacy shows up to collect everyone's phones, saying they're here to disconnect from work. Everyone complies, though Jess seems hesitant. Slater then personally escorts Frida to her room, which is already stocked with expensive clothes and beauty products. After he leaves, Frida showers and applies a unique perfume she finds. As she's getting ready, an old maid suddenly walks in and calls her Red Rabbit, acting like she knows her. Frida is confused and asks what it means, but the woman just walks out without answering. Outside, she meets up with Jess, who finds it odd that they have clothes waiting for them when the invite was last minute. Frida brushes it off, saying that's just how rich people roll. They link up with the other girls who are all wearing similar outfits, but no one seems to find it weird. Eventually they all meet up with the guys at the pool. Slater keeps eyeing Frida despite Sarah trying to flirt with him. He later gives Frida a private tour of the island and introduces her to a rare flower called Desideria, which the perfume is made from. He also warns her about the lash vipers on the island, which are being cleared out by staff. Then he gets personal, telling her he remembers almost nothing from his childhood before the age of 10 and sees Drive Rich for therapy to help with repressed memories. Frida thinks it's odd, but Slater says forgetting can be a blessing. During the tour they run into Stacy, who's carrying a bunch of red gift bags. That night, they all gather for a candlelit dinner due to a generator outage. Frida spills something on her dress, but Vic distracts her by asking about her job. She shrugs, saying she's still figuring things out. Slater jokes about Vic's missing pinky finger, but Vic doesn't respond. Instead, he pulls out a small bottle of MDMA. The group starts partying hard. Later, when Frida heads to bed, she notices the stain on her dress is gone. She finds it strange but doesn't dwell on it. The next few days are full of non-stop champagne, poolside lounging and drug-fueled dinners. One night, Slater notices the scar by Frida's eye and asks about it, but she says she has no idea how it happened. They then talk about her nail art brand, which she calls Nail Mouse, a mashup of animals and nails. Slater seems intrigued, but suddenly excuses himself and rushes off, leaving behind his vaporizer. Later, Frida notices dirt under her nails while holding the vaporizer, which unsettles her. The next morning she tries to return it and sees Slater leaving a session with Dr. Rich. She greets the doctor and reminds him of their brief chat at the gala, even referencing the joke about blinking twice if in danger. He nervously acknowledges her but hurries off, carrying one of the red gift bags. That night, everyone's dancing until a scream cuts through the music. Jess has been bitten by a snake. Slater quickly kills it with a bottle and tells her the venom isn't deadly. But Jess starts panicking and storms off. Frida follows her, and Jess says she wants her phone back and wants to leave. She's convinced something shady is going on. But Frida refuses. She finally feels seen and happy here. Jess reluctantly agrees to stay. Later, Jess experiences a nosebleed while alone. The next day, Frida gets ready as usual: shower, perfume, sunshine. On her walk, she finds a red bag in front of a room. Inside, she sees dozens more red bags. The old maid appears again, calling her Red Rabbit and offering her a green liquid. Frida drinks it, but then the maid points to snake remains, revealing that the liquid is actually venom. Horrified, Frida runs out. She then has a bizarre dream where Jess hands her a knife and tells her to hide it. When Frida wakes up, she's disoriented and her appearance worries Sarah. Lucas shows up with a bruise but no one reacts. No one even notices that Jess is missing. Frida asks about Jess but none of the girls recognize the name. Panicked, Frida rushes to Jess's room only to find it empty, like no one ever stayed there. Back in her own room, she finds a knife hidden behind the mirror. Sarah walks in holding a lighter engraved with Jess's name. Frida insists Jess was there but Sarah has no memory of her. Frida then shares all the weird things happening: waking up with dirt under her nails, random bruises. Sarah shows her own mysterious bruise and admits that Cody is the only one she actually knows. He'd approached her at a coffee shop and invited her here. They both start to realize something's very wrong. They're being manipulated and their minds are being messed with. None of this is what it seems. Frida remembers something Slater once said, that forgetting is a gift. She and Sarah step into a room filled with red bags and start suspecting that the perfume being used on them has some kind of drug that makes them forget everything. Frida explains that she began to recall some things after drinking the snake venom the maid gave her. They find more of the venom in the room and Frida convinces Sarah to try it. They mix it with tequila and decide to share it with Heather and Camilla, hoping it'll help them recover their memories too. Stacy joins them and drinks some as well. She warns them the men will be returning soon. Knowing time's running out, Frida decides to sneak off and search for their phones. She tells Sarah to scream if the men show up. Not long after, Sarah starts getting a nosebleed, just like Jess did before she vanished. When the men return, Slater asks where Frida is, and Sarah casually says she's getting ready in her room. Meanwhile, Frida breaks into Slater's private villa and finds a locked cupboard. She manages to open it and locates their phones, but Sarah's scream alerts her. She quickly hides everything. A box falls in the process and Frida is shocked to discover a stash of Polaroid photos, each showing different people holding red bags. At that moment, Slater walks in to grab some liquid for his vape, unaware that Frida is hiding under his desk. The snake venom starts kicking in, giving Frida a nosebleed and triggering horrifying memories. She remembers being tied up with the other girls while the men tortured them. She realizes that Jess must have regained her memory after drinking the venom, which is why Slater had Stan kill her. Terrified, Frida runs to Sarah and tells her everything about Jess's fate. They decide to keep playing along until Heather and Camilla's memories return. That night during dinner, more memories come flooding back to Frida. She recalls how the men had been abusing them every night, then using the perfume to erase their memories afterward. Lucas had been hesitant about it, but the others pressured him, telling him to grow up. Frida remembers that Dr. Rich assaulted her and was clearly nervous afterward, afraid she might remember. Slater had reassured him, saying the worse the trauma, the more they forget. That explains why Dr. Rich was so rattled when she recognized him a few days earlier. Trying to stay calm, Frida pulls herself together and starts dancing, with Sarah joining in. Eventually, the others follow and the evening looks like it's turning into another cheerful gathering, until Camilla suddenly screams. She's remembered everything. In a rage, Camilla repeatedly stabs Tom to death. Slater rushes in and restrains her. At that moment, Heather's memories also return, and she chases after Vic inside the villa. Sarah stabs Cody in the hand and tries to finish him off, but he manages to get away. Meanwhile, Heather catches up to Vic and smashes his face with a chessboard. But before she can do anything else, Stan shoots her dead. Stan spots Frida in the distance and goes after her. She runs into the woods but he catches up and prepares to shoot. At the last second, Sarah bashes his head in with a rock, killing him. At the same time, Slater drags an injured Vic and a tied-up Camilla back into his villa. Lucas is confused and doesn't understand why the girls are acting this way, clearly still under the influence of the perfume. Slater ignores him and kills Camilla by stepping on her neck. In her room, Frida searches for a weapon when Stacy shows up, clearly shaken. It's obvious Stacy has also recovered her memory, but she reacts differently. Unlike the others, Stacy chooses to stay under the perfume's influence. She claims forgetting is a blessing and accuses Frida of making her relive a nightmare. During their struggle, Frida ends up stabbing Stacy in the chest, killing her. Out in the woods, Cody is still hunting the remaining girls. But Sarah finds him first and shoots him dead. Lucas, still in a daze, can't figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, Frida and Sarah reunite, and Frida shows her a Polaroid picture of herself in the villa, dated 1 year ago. She realizes she's been there before. Determined to end this for good, they arm themselves with a knife and a gun and head to Slater's villa. They demand that he open the door. He refuses. Lucas opens it instead and Sarah immediately shoots him dead. Slater takes advantage of the chaos, overpowers Frida and locks the door. Frida grabs something to defend herself, but he quickly pins her down. She then has a flashback of her escape attempt a year ago, how she fell on a rock and got the scar on her face, how she painted her nails with a red rabbit design, and how she bit off Vic's pinky. Back in the moment, Slater lectures Frida, telling her that humanity would be better off if people could just forget their pain. He tries to convince her to inhale the perfume and move on. While he's talking, Frida secretly cuts herself free using a glass shard. Just then, Sarah starts firing at the door from outside, but she runs out of bullets. Slater grabs her and drags her inside, unaware that Frida is now holding a knife. He tries to take it from her but assures her he won't kill her, claiming she's his best friend. He takes a puff from his vape and gets ready to finish Sarah off. But suddenly he looks confused and dizzy. He doesn't know what he's doing. Frida reveals she spiked his vape with the very same perfume he created. Disoriented, Slater collapses and knocks over some candles, which quickly spark a fire. The flames spread fast. Frida escapes, leaving Vic to burn alive. Outside, Sarah watches the fire and asks if Frida knows what she's doing. As the camera pulls back, we see that Frida didn't let Slater die. She actually pulled him out before the fire consumed the villa. In the final scene, some time has passed. Slater's company is throwing another gala. He looks vacant and confused. Dr. Rich approaches him, wanting to talk in private. But Frida steps in, tells the doctor Slater isn't available, and reminds him that she remembers everything. It turns out Frida is now married to Slater, and she's become the new CEO of the company. The doctor is visibly shaken as Frida smiles coldly. She keeps Slater subdued and controlled by secretly drugging his vape. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories like this. Thanks for watching.